There are moments in life when we find ourselves standing alone. The silence can feel deafening, the solitude overwhelming. But let me tell you something powerful. In that very moment of being alone, we find our true strength. It is in solitude where we learn to hear our own voice. When the noise of the world fades away, that's when we can truly listen to our fears, our dreams, and our deepest desires. In that space, we have the chance to understand who we really are, stripped of the expectations, the labels, the judgments that society places upon us. We are left with our true selves, and that is where our power lies. Being alone doesn't mean being lonely. There is a difference, and it's important to know it. Loneliness is the longing for connection, but being alone is the realization that you are already complete. It's about discovering that the one person who can lift you up, who can make you feel whole, is you. And let me tell you, when you reach that point, there's nothing stronger than a person who has found peace in their own company. We are often taught to seek validation outside of ourselves, to look for someone else to tell us that we are worthy, that we matter. But the truth is, if you can stand tall without anyone else holding you up, you are unbreakable. That kind of strength cannot be taken away. It's earned in the quiet moments when you choose to keep going, even when no one else is watching. Some of the greatest transformations happen in solitude. When we are faced with our own doubts and fears, it is a chance to confront them, to conquer them, to rise above them. Those who can face their darkest hours alone emerge with a light that no one can extinguish. That light is your inner strength and is your resilience. So I challenge you to embrace those times when you find yourself alone. Use them as a chance to dig deeper, to grow stronger, to become more of who you are meant to be. The path you walk may be yours alone, but that doesn't make it any less extraordinary. In fact, it is all the more powerful because it is uniquely yours. You do not need a crowd to applaud you, nor do you need someone else's approval to validate you. You are enough just as you are. And when you understand this, you will not just be strong, you will be unstoppable. The world can only break what it can touch. But when you have mastered the art of standing strong by yourself, there is no force that can tear you down. Remember, being stronger alone is not about shutting people out. It is about letting yourself in. It's about giving yourself the grace to stand on your own 2 feet, to build your life on your terms, and to celebrate the unique power that comes from being authentically you. So go ahead, stand tall, walk that path alone if you have to. Because when you are strong in your solitude, there is nothing you cannot overcome. You are stronger alone than you ever thought possible. And that, my friend, is your greatest power. There's a certain magic in solitude that often goes overlooked. In a world that glorifies constant connection and hustle, we're rarely encouraged to sit with ourselves in stillness. Yet it is in those quiet, uninterrupted moments when we step away from the chaos of everyday life that we truly begin to find ourselves. Solitude is not a punishment, it is a gift, one that allows us to pause, breathe, and truly tune in to our own inner voice. Being alone can feel uncomfortable at first. The silence can seem almost too loud, as if it is reminding us of the things we've been too busy to confront. But it is precisely within this silence that we can start to sift through the clutter that fills our minds and hearts. It is where we can strip away the roles we play for others, the dutiful friend, the reliable partner, the tireless worker, and come face to face with our most authentic self. In solitude, there is no one to perform for, no masks to wear, no expectations to meet. We are left with nothing but our raw, unfiltered thoughts. And in that state, we have the opportunity to ask ourselves some profound questions. Who am I when I'm not trying to please anyone else? What do I truly desire when no one else's opinions are influencing me? What kind of life do I want to build if I'm not seeking validation from the outside world? These questions, though challenging, guide us toward self-discovery in a way that no conversation with others ever could. When we learn to embrace solitude, we begin to understand that it is not an absence of connection, but rather a deeper form of it, a connection with ourselves. We learn to be our own best friend, our own motivator, our own source of comfort. We stop looking for someone else to fill the gaps in our lives and instead start filling them ourselves. It is a journey inward, a path to uncovering strengths we didn't know we had, passions we didn't know burned so brightly within us. This period of being alone does not have to be forever. It's not about withdrawing from the world. It's about making sure that when we do engage with it again, we do so from a place of authenticity and wholeness. It's about ensuring that we don't lose ourselves in the noise and expectations, but instead come back stronger, more centered, and more in tune with who we truly are. Solitude allows us to be introspective in a way that is simply not possible in the busyness of our daily lives. It offers us the space to reflect, to heal, to dream, and to plan. In those solitary moments, we can assess the experiences we've gone through, celebrate the victories we've achieved, and understand the lessons we've learned. It is a time to acknowledge our own growth, to make peace with our past, and to envision a future that aligns with our true desires. Discovering inner strength is a process that often begins when we're at our most vulnerable, at a time when we feel exposed, unsure, or even broken. It is in those moments when we have no choice but to face ourselves, with all our fears, doubts, and insecurities laid bare. The world may seem like a heavy place, and we might feel like we're standing on shaky ground, but here's the truth: it's in that very discomfort, in that raw space, that we come to recognize a power that was always there, buried beneath layers of self-doubt and external expectations. Inner strength is not about being impervious to pain or never feeling afraid. It is about finding the courage to keep moving forward despite the fear, to rise after falling, and to see setbacks not as signs of weakness but as opportunities for growth. When we are alone, with no one else to lean on or seek comfort from, we tap into a reservoir of resilience that might have otherwise remained hidden. We start to realize that our capacity to endure is far greater than we ever imagined, that our spirit is unbreakable even when it feels fragile. This strength does not appear all at once. It comes slowly, sometimes in small doses, building day by day as we confront our challenges head on. It comes from facing the truth about who we are and what we've been through. It comes from forgiving ourselves for past mistakes and embracing our imperfections as part of our journey. There is a profound empowerment in realizing that we are capable of handling whatever life throws at us, not because we are fearless, but because we are brave enough to take the next step despite our fears. Discovering inner strength often means dismantling the belief that we need someone else to save us. It's about learning to be our own hero, realizing that the person we've been waiting for to come to our rescue has been us all along. The more we acknowledge this strength within ourselves, the more we start to see that we are the source of our own resilience, that we possess an ability to adapt and overcome that is unmatched by any external force. There is a certain beauty in the process of becoming stronger from the inside out. It's not always a loud or dramatic transformation. Sometimes it's quiet, like the slow but steady growth of a tree. It happens when we choose to get up every morning, despite feeling weighed down by life's difficulties, when we decide to love ourselves even when we feel unlovable, and when we find joy in simple moments despite the chaos surrounding us. These acts of perseverance may seem small, but they are profound because they signal the awakening of our inner strength. As we continue to lean into our struggles rather than avoid them, we start to see ourselves differently. We recognize that we are not defined by the obstacles we face, but by how we choose to respond to them. Our scars become symbols of our survival, our resilience, and our ability to heal. And while life may continue to test us, we come to trust that there is a part of us deep within that will never give up, that will always fight to rise again. The discovery of inner strength isn't about becoming someone else. It's about uncovering the power that has been within us all along. It's about realizing that we can stand tall on our own without needing anyone else to hold us up. It's about embracing the truth that we are capable, we are resilient, and we are stronger than we ever believed we could be. And once we discover that strength within ourselves, there is no limit to what we can achieve or overcome. The world may challenge us, but it can never break the power we found inside our own hearts. Self-reliance and independence are qualities that transform how we see ourselves and navigate the world. They empower us to take control of our own lives and to live on our terms. To be self-reliant means having the ability to stand on our own 2 feet, to be the architects of our destiny, and to make decisions based on our values and aspirations rather than relying on someone else's guidance or approval. It's the recognition that we are not just passengers in life, but the drivers capable of steering our own course. There is a profound sense of freedom that comes with embracing self-reliance. It allows us to shed the belief that our happiness, success, or well-being is dependent on anyone but ourselves. It means acknowledging that while it is wonderful to have support from others, it is not a necessity. We come to understand that our greatest asset is not what others can do for us, but what we can do for ourselves. When we choose to cultivate our own strengths, to sharpen our skills, and to pursue our goals with a sense of independence, we empower ourselves in ways that cannot be taken away. Independence is not about isolation or refusing help when it is genuinely needed. It is about knowing that we are capable of helping ourselves first. It's about trusting in our abilities to solve problems, to endure difficulties, and to create opportunities. It's the quiet confidence that we can face whatever comes our way because we've taken the time to prepare, to learn, and to grow. We stop waiting for others to give us permission to live the lives we want. We start setting our own rules and paving our own paths without feeling constrained by the expectations of others. Living with a sense of self-reliance doesn't mean we never encounter moments of doubt or uncertainty. Those moments will come, but instead of seeking reassurance from outside, we look within. We rely on the knowledge and resilience we've built up over time, and we use that as our foundation. We learn to trust our instincts, to listen to our own voice, and to be guided by our internal compass. This allows us to walk through life with a sense of assurance that no matter what happens, we will find a way to overcome. Being independent also involves taking responsibility for our own happiness and fulfillment. It means understanding that no one else is responsible for our well-being, our growth, or achievements. We are the ones who must put in the effort, who must set the goals, and who must take the steps to reach them. When we embrace this responsibility, we stop blaming external circumstances or other people for our situation. We realize that while we can't control everything, we do have control over our own actions and reactions, and that is where our true power lies. There is something incredibly empowering about knowing that you can take care of yourself, that you can provide for your own needs, and that you can stand up for yourself when the situation demands it. It builds a sense of inner security and resilience because you know that even if everything else falls apart, you will still have the strength to get back up. This kind of independence is not just about financial or physical self-sufficiency, it's also about emotional and mental autonomy. It's about not letting others dictate how we should feel or think, and instead forming our own beliefs and pursuing our own dreams. When we embody self-reliance, we also attract people who respect our independence and who value us for who we are, rather than for what we can do for them. We form relationships not out of need, but out of genuine connection and mutual respect. We engage with others not because we are dependent on them, but because we choose to share our lives with them. And this choice is powerful because it comes from a place of strength, not weakness. In the end, self-reliance and independence are about owning our life's journey. It's about knowing that at the end of the day, we are enough. We have within us the resources to face our challenges, to pursue our passions, and to achieve our dreams. And when we fully embrace this, we walk with a sense of freedom and power that cannot be shaken by the opinions, judgments, or actions of others. We become the authors of our story, writing each chapter with intention, purpose, and a deep understanding of our own worth. Breaking free from dependence is a liberating journey that involves letting go of the need for external validation and support in order to truly come into our own. It means breaking the chains that tie our sense of worth, happiness, or success to the actions, approval, or opinions of others. Dependence often feels like a comfortable place because it gives the illusion of security, but true freedom comes from knowing that we are not bound by anyone else's choices, circumstances, or limitations. Dependence can take many forms. Sometimes it's emotional, where we look to others for comfort, reassurance, or a sense of identity. Other times it's financial, where we feel constrained by relying on someone else to support us. There can also be social dependence, where we shape our decisions around what others think is acceptable or desirable. Whatever form it takes, dependence often leads us to live smaller lives than we are capable of, keeping us from exploring our true potential or expressing our authentic selves. It is only when we break away from these limitations that we begin to understand how much power we actually hold. The process of breaking free from dependence requires a shift in mindset. It involves recognizing that we are whole and complete on our own, that our happiness is an internal state that we can cultivate regardless of who is or isn't in our lives. We start to realize that relying on others for our sense of self-worth is like building a house on shifting sands, unstable and unpredictable. The solid foundation we need can only be created by ourselves through a commitment to developing our own skills, embracing our own values, and finding purpose from within. As we start to release the need for external approval, we learn to make choices that reflect our true desires rather than trying to fit into someone else's expectations. We begin to trust our own judgment and take ownership of our life's direction. This doesn't mean we stop valuing the advice or support of those around us, but rather we stop letting it define us. We learn to seek validation not from the world, but from within, understanding that we are capable of making decisions, pursuing goals, and overcoming challenges without constantly needing someone else's input or reassurance. Breaking free from dependence is also about overcoming the fear of standing alone. It's about realizing that even if others don't agree with our choices, or if we have to walk a path by ourselves, that doesn't diminish the value of our journey. It's a powerful acknowledgement that being alone doesn't equate to being lonely, and that there is immense strength in charting our own course. When we break free from dependence, we give ourselves permission to pursue our passions, to make mistakes, and to learn without the fear of judgment or failure holding us back. This journey is not always easy. There will be moments when we feel tempted to fall back into old patterns, when the comfort of depending on someone else feels more appealing than the uncertainty of standing on our own. But each time we resist that temptation, each time we choose to rely on our own capabilities, we grow stronger and more confident in who we are. We begin to see that while support from others can be helpful, it is not essential for our success. Our true potential is revealed not in what others can do for us, but in what we can do for ourselves. Letting go of dependence also means accepting full responsibility for our lives. It's about understanding that while we may not control all of our circumstances, we do have control over how we respond to them. We can choose to be proactive, to solve problems, and to pursue opportunities rather than waiting for someone else to come and make things right for us. When we take responsibility in this way, we not only free ourselves from the limitations of dependence, but also create a life that reflects our true values and aspirations. As we continue to grow into our independence, we begin to experience a deeper sense of empowerment. We become more resilient because we know that we can handle whatever life throws our way. We become more fulfilled because we are living in alignment with our authentic selves rather than seeking fulfillment through others. We become more courageous because we realize that even if we stumble or fall, we have the strength to get back up on our own. Ultimately, breaking free from dependence is about reclaiming our power. It's about understanding that we are capable, resourceful, and complete, and that we don't need someone else to fill the gaps in our lives. It's about living boldly, pursuing our dreams, and creating our own definition of success. When we free ourselves from the need to rely on others for our happiness, we unlock a new level of freedom, one where we are truly in control of our own lives and can walk forward with confidence no matter what lies ahead. Learning to love your own company is one of the most rewarding experiences, though it is often overlooked in a world that prioritizes social interaction and constant connectivity. It's easy to become accustomed to surrounding ourselves with people, distractions, and activities, keeping ourselves busy to avoid the discomfort that sometimes comes with being alone. Yet there is a profound beauty and depth that can only be found when we learn to sit comfortably with ourselves, appreciating who we are without the need for anyone else to fill our time or validate our existence. The journey to loving our own company begins with embracing the quiet moments. At first, solitude may feel like an empty space we need to fill, an unfamiliar silence we rush to escape. But over time, that quiet evolves into something much more meaningful. It becomes a sanctuary. It's where we can hear our own thoughts without interruption, where we can explore our feelings, and where we can get in touch with the deepest parts of ourselves. Instead of seeking to fill the silence, we start to cherish it, finding peace and clarity in the stillness. Spending time alone is not about isolation or avoiding others. It's about cultivating a relationship with ourselves that is just as fulfilling as any other connection. It means finding joy in simple activities done solo, such as reading a book, going for a walk, or even sitting in a cafe with a cup of coffee. These moments are not about filling a void. They are about nurturing a sense of contentment that comes from within. When we learn to find pleasure in our own company, we become less dependent on external sources for our happiness, because we realize that joy is something we can generate ourselves. Loving your own company also means being comfortable with your own thoughts and feelings, even when they are not always pleasant. It's about allowing yourself to feel everything: joy, sadness, frustration, excitement, without judgment. It's about knowing that you don't need to run away from your emotions, because you are strong enough to face them and kind enough to accept them. When we are alone, we have the opportunity to process our experiences, to reflect on who we are and who we want to become, and to grow in ways that wouldn't be possible if we were constantly distracted by the noise of the world. There's a certain kind of empowerment that comes from knowing you can enjoy your own company. It's the realization that being alone does not mean being lonely. It means you are enough as you are without needing anyone else to complete you. This understanding brings with it a sense of freedom. You begin to feel comfortable going places by yourself, pursuing hobbies independently, and even traveling solo. The world becomes less intimidating because you've developed a relationship with yourself that is strong and unshakable. You are no longer waiting for others to join you in order to experience life fully. You are embracing life on your terms, with or without company. This journey teaches us to appreciate ourselves for who we truly are, not just for how we fit into someone else's life. It encourages us to celebrate our own successes, to comfort ourselves in times of disappointment, and to be our own biggest supporter. We learn to treat ourselves with the same love, compassion, and respect that we would offer a close friend. The relationship we build with ourselves becomes the foundation upon which all other relationships are formed. When we are secure in who we are, we attract connections that are based on mutual respect and genuine care, rather than on a need to fill an emotional void. Learning to love your own company also opens the door to self-discovery. It's an invitation to explore your passions, to try new things without fear of judgment, and to pursue interests that truly resonate with you. When you spend time alone, you have the freedom to be curious, to make mistakes, and to learn about yourself in a way that might not happen when you're always surrounded by others. You begin to realize what truly brings you joy, what energizes you, and what drains you. This knowledge allows you to live a more intentional and fulfilling life, guided by your own inner compass rather than by the expectations of others. Moreover, loving your own company helps to build resilience. Life is full of moments when we will inevitably find ourselves alone, whether by choice or by circumstance. When we have already cultivated a strong relationship with ourselves, those moments are not something to fear. Instead, they become opportunities for reflection, growth, and renewal. We come to understand that solitude is not a weakness, but a powerful space where we can recharge, realign, and reconnect with what matters most. Ultimately, learning to love your own company is about embracing yourself fully, your strengths, your flaws, your quirks, and your unique qualities. It's about being comfortable in your own skin and finding contentment in simply being you. When you reach this place of self-acceptance, you realize that you are never truly alone because you have yourself. And that realization brings with it a profound sense of peace and confidence that radiates into every area of your life. Transformation through adversity is a powerful process that reshapes who we are and how we see the world. Life is filled with moments that challenge us, that test our limits and force us to confront parts of ourselves we may not have even known existed. Adversity can come in many forms: personal loss, failure, heartbreak, or unexpected setbacks. In these moments, it is natural to feel overwhelmed, broken, or defeated. Yet, it is precisely through facing these difficulties that we undergo some of the most profound growth and transformation. The transformative power of adversity lies in its ability to change our perspective. What once seemed important may no longer hold the same weight, while new values and priorities emerge. When we go through hardship, we gain a deeper appreciation for life's small blessings and develop a stronger sense of gratitude. We learn to be more compassionate, not only towards others, but also towards ourselves. Adversity teaches us to be kinder and more forgiving because we come to understand that everyone is fighting their own battles, and that struggle is a universal experience. One of the most significant aspects of transformation through adversity is the development of inner strength. When we face challenging situations, we often discover that we are far more resilient than we initially believed. We learn to cope with pain, adapt to change, and find solutions in the face of obstacles. Each time we overcome a difficulty, we add to our reservoir of strength, which prepares us for future challenges. We begin to trust ourselves more, knowing that if we've made it through tough times before, we can do it again. This newfound resilience becomes a source of confidence that carries us through the ups and downs of life. Adversity also forces us to grow in ways we might not choose for ourselves. When everything is going smoothly, it's easy to stay in our comfort zones and avoid risks. But when we are faced with challenges, we are often compelled to step outside of what feels safe and familiar. We are pushed to develop new skills, to find creative solutions, and to tap into our resourcefulness. These experiences expand our capabilities and broaden our horizons, making us more adaptable and open to change. The process of transforming through adversity is not always linear. There will be times when we feel like we are making progress, and other times when it feels like we are back at square one. Healing and growth take time, and setbacks are a natural part of the journey. However, even in those moments of struggle, we are learning and evolving. Each experience, no matter how difficult, is shaping us into a stronger and more resilient version of ourselves. It is important to remember that transformation is not about becoming someone else, but about becoming more fully who we are meant to be. Adversity often serves as a catalyst for self-discovery. When life forces us to confront our challenges, we learn more about our own values, our passions, and our purpose. We may discover talents or interests we never knew we had, or we may be inspired to pursue a different path altogether. These realizations can lead to a renewed sense of direction and meaning in life. Instead of seeing adversity as something that holds us back, we begin to see it as an opportunity for growth, as a doorway that leads to new possibilities. Through hardship, we also develop a deeper sense of empathy. When we have experienced pain, we are more attuned to the struggles of others. We become more understanding, more compassionate, and more willing to lend a helping hand. Our own suffering allows us to connect with people on a deeper level, fostering stronger relationships and building communities of support. We come to realize that we are not alone in our struggles, and that sharing our experiences can be a source of strength and healing for others as well as ourselves. Ultimately, transformation through adversity is about embracing change and finding meaning in our struggles. It's about recognizing that every setback, every hardship is an invitation to grow, to learn, and to evolve. We come to understand that the very experiences we once saw as obstacles can become the stepping stones that lead us to a more authentic and fulfilling life. Through adversity, we discover not only who we are, but who we are capable of becoming. And in that process, we transform in ways that are profound, lasting, and life-affirming. Building your own path is an empowering journey of taking charge of your life and consciously deciding where you want to go. It means breaking free from the conventional expectations, routines, and limitations that may have been set by others, and creating a unique life that truly reflects who you are. This journey is not about following a pre-established blueprint. It is about carving out your own trail in uncharted territory, guided by your dreams, values, and passions. It is about embracing the freedom to choose your own direction, even when it feels uncertain or risky. The journey of building your own path often starts with a clear vision or a calling. It may be a deep-seated desire to create, explore, or achieve something that sets your soul on fire. This vision doesn't have to be grand or fully formed from the outset. It could begin as a small spark, a whisper of inspiration, or a curiosity that keeps tugging at you. What matters is that you honor it and allow it to guide your steps forward. As you begin to pursue this vision, the path may not always be straightforward, and there will likely be obstacles along the way. However, every challenge presents an opportunity for growth and a chance to refine your goals. Building your own path is not just about reaching a final destination, it's about embracing the journey itself. It's about finding joy in the process of discovery, in learning from your experiences, and in growing along the way. You will encounter twists and turns that you hadn't anticipated, and at times you might even feel lost. But these moments of uncertainty are a crucial part of forging your own way. They encourage you to think creatively, adapt to new circumstances, and persist despite setbacks. You come to understand that success is not a linear process. It is shaped by resilience, perseverance, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. When you are committed to building your own path, you become more attuned to your personal strengths and weaknesses. This self-awareness helps you identify areas where you need to grow and enables you to leverage your strengths in ways that propel you forward. You learn to trust your instincts, to make decisions that resonate with your values, and to move forward even when the path is not clearly marked. You also begin to see failures not as dead ends, but as important stepping stones that provide valuable lessons and guide you toward better opportunities. Each experience, whether good or bad, becomes a building block in constructing the life you desire. Creating your own path also involves taking risks and stepping outside your comfort zone. It requires the courage to go against the grain and the resolve to pursue what matters most to you, regardless of how unconventional it may seem. The road may be bumpy, and there may be moments when you question whether it would have been easier to stick to a safer, more predictable route. But in choosing to build your own path, you are affirming your commitment to living authentically and fully without compromising on what truly fulfills you. It's about embracing the fact that the most rewarding experiences in life often come from taking bold steps in unfamiliar directions. As you continue to build your path, you begin to shape a life that is uniquely yours. You are no longer living according to someone else's script. You are the author of your story, writing each chapter with intention and creativity. This sense of autonomy brings with it a deep sense of fulfillment because the life you are creating is a reflection of your true self. You are not just following the steps laid out before you, you are setting the course and making choices that resonate with your authentic desires and ambitions. Building your own path doesn't mean you have to walk it alone. Along the way, you may find like-minded individuals who share your vision or who support your journey. They may become your mentors, collaborators, or friends, enriching your path with their insights and encouragement. While your journey is uniquely yours, sharing experiences with others who understand and appreciate your goals can provide invaluable support and perspective. However, the foundation of your path remains rooted in your own convictions and decisions. Empowerment also comes from embracing vulnerability. It's about acknowledging that it's okay to feel lonely and that it's a natural part of the human experience. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we connect with our authentic selves. We stop hiding behind the facades we create to fit in or to be accepted. This honesty with ourselves opens the door to deeper, more meaningful relationships with others. When we approach life from a place of authenticity, we attract connections that are built on mutual respect and understanding rather than on the fear of being alone. Another key aspect of moving from loneliness to empowerment is finding purpose. When we feel lonely, it's often because we are disconnected from a sense of meaning. As we start to explore our passions, interests, and values, we can begin to cultivate a life that feels purposeful and fulfilling. We may find purpose in creative pursuits, in serving others, in learning something new, or in setting and achieving personal goals. This sense of purpose gives us direction and makes the solitude we once feared a powerful opportunity to focus on what truly matters to us. Along the way, we also learn the importance of self-compassion. The journey from loneliness to empowerment isn't always easy, and there will be times when we feel discouraged or fall back into old patterns. During these moments, it's important to be gentle with ourselves, to recognize that transformation is a process, and that setbacks are a natural part of growth. Self-compassion helps us to pick ourselves up when we stumble and reminds us that we are worthy of love and respect, regardless of whether we are alone or surrounded by others. Ultimately, moving from loneliness to empowerment is about embracing our wholeness. It's about realizing that we are complete as we are without needing someone else to fill in the gaps. This realization brings a deep sense of freedom because we no longer feel dependent on external circumstances for our sense of well-being. We are free to pursue our dreams, to take risks, and to live authentically, knowing that we have the inner strength to handle whatever comes our way. We come to understand that empowerment is not about the absence of loneliness, but about the ability to find strength, purpose, and fulfillment even in its presence. This transformation does not mean we stop valuing relationships or the connections we make with others. Instead, it enhances them. When we are empowered, we approach relationships from a place of wholeness rather than need. We form connections that are based on shared values and mutual growth, rather than out of a fear of being alone. Our relationships become richer and more rewarding because we are not looking for others to complete us, but to complement the empowered individuals we have become. In the end, the journey from loneliness to empowerment is about finding the courage to face ourselves, to embrace who we are, and to recognize the incredible strength that resides within us. It's about transforming solitude into an opportunity for self-discovery, growth, and renewal. It's about turning inward to find the power that was there all along, waiting to be uncovered. As we walk this path, we not only overcome loneliness, but also emerge stronger, more resilient, and more empowered to live a life that is true to who we are.